Hi guys, a new video about the Pfizer building, the building with the buckled columns, because there's new insight, and we see that directly here. Here it says that the reinforcement was actually engineered, but it was never installed. If we go down on this webpage, we can also directly see what kind of reinforcement they designed. So what they wanted to do, additionally, on top of these existing H-beams, they wanted to add plates here on the side, which had to be welded here in the corners. So we know now that these columns should have been reinforced with plates on the sides. So then there are some questions. Would this reinforcement have really helped the construction? And beside that, there are 4 reasons why they didn't add the reinforcement at the end. Okay, let's go here back to the model and see if this reinforcement really would have helped the construction. So the situation now is the situation with the H-shape columns. You can see that still here. First I will do the steel check once again, so we can compare the two situations. So here we see this high unity check again. The number above the 1 tells us that there's something wrong in this construction at the moment. I explained that in my previous video. And now we're going to change the H-shape columns into the box shape column. So it's H shape, but then on the sides we welded the plates. We're going to calculate again. And now we can see a nice unity check underneath 1, which complies to the standards. On the website of the architect is written that they were planning to add a swimming pool on top of the roof. We don't know the exact location, but just for fun, so I added a load here of the swimming pool just on top of the columns in the middle here. And now we see what happens, where we see just a slight increase. We compare it with the previous situation without the swimming pool load. So yes, even a swimming pool on top would have been possible. But why didn't they just install the plates? Here are the 4 reasons. So the first reason why they didn't add the reinforcement before adding all these floors is visible in this video directly at the beginning.
So what happened was they did not shore up the job correctly. The beams.
So the responsibility of shoring the project is in hands of the contractor, and like this guy says, they didn't shore it up correctly. The only way that you can walk on top of floors that are actually unsafe is by placing shoring. The second reason is written on the page of ENR, but comes actually out of the Wall Street Journal. So directly after the columns started to buckle, Nathan Berman, the developer, talks about some minor reinforcement. And this actually tells us how they looked at the reinforcement that they actually had to place, because this was for sure not minor reinforcement, because if we go back to the news that came today, it's written that the reinforcement exists of 1.5 inch plates. So we actually talk about a thickness of 3 fingers thick plates over the full length on both sides of the columns. For my third point, I go back to this video. Let's have a look at this column again, where we can see the fireproofing. So now we know that they wanted to put here over the full height of the columns reinforcement. So they wanted to weld the plates here. And what we see is that the fireproofing is an obstacle to place these reinforcements. And then I would like to show you this image, because there's a lot involved in just placing some reinforcement or just placing some plates on the sides of the columns. So first I have to remove the fireproofing. So get everything out. So there's a potential risk for asbestos in the concrete, and that would mean extra safety measurements, which cost a lot of effort and time. When the fireproofing is gone, they need to clean the steel with a needle gun. So especially all the places where they want to weld. So here on the corners, from the bottom to the top, they have to clean to make a proper weld. Then they have to put the plates and weld all together, and then official checks have to be made. And since the floors above the reinforcement are in use already, or workers are there, the fireproofing has to be in place as soon as possible again. So it's not just some reinforcement, there's a lot of work and time that they probably didn't have at that moment. And for the 4th reason that they didn't place the reinforcement beforehand, we can see in this video.
Have since been allowed back in 5 buildings on 2nd Avenue.
The contractor just liked to take risk because it's an unsafe building. Everybody should have gone outside. A safety plan had to be made first, but they chose to go in directly and put reinforcement to save whatever they could. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.